North American League of Legends is back. They're always saving the best for last, right? And that's what I keep telling myself to make sure that I'm okay with the fact that we're starting later than everybody else. But let's get into the pit.
Into the pit! Into the pit! Everyone get in here!
As always, if you're new around here, The Pit is a weekly series talking about the LTA North American League of Legends. I will have interviews with players mixed in. I was not able to attend Media Day this year. We moved into our new Disney headquarters here in New York City on the days that Media Day was going on, so I wasn't working from home. I could weave in an interview during lunch or something. So I got no player content this week. That will return next week as I do interviews on Sunday. But for now, at least, we got some storylines to cover and an event that I need to remind people of. We're watching the LTA North in Brooklyn at Brookland this Saturday. Cloud9 is sponsoring us this weekend and is giving away one of their Cloud9 Kia Pro Kit jerseys. So if you want to come, it's free to come. All we ask is you buy food and drink. If you're there, support the venue. They're supporting us without charging us a cover fee, which is great. But come by. The events are fun. Ask anybody in the comments that's ever been to one. They can all attest. They're a fun time. There really hasn't been all that much news around the LTA North. I mean, we kind of knew everything whenever they announced it all with the initial format explainer. But the one bit is that fantasy, for those that are looking for it, is not returning in the form of Sleeper, which personally, I always hated the app. Didn't think it worked all that well. The pick and ban system was just tragically bad, but they've done away with it. Riot is actually coming out with their own fantasy product that will launch in Split 2, so it will not be here for this abridged 5-week season that is Split 1, but next Split it will be. So sorry for those looking for fantasy. If you want to do predictions and stuff, we do them in my Discord, but beyond that, yeah, I don't really have a good answer for you. Hopefully this product is good. Riot, please don't mess up this fantasy thing. I know you know what we want. I've made my intentions of what I would like to see from it very clear, so we'll see if they're able to implement the features that we've all been asking for a long period of time. Probably the biggest piece of news over the last few days, though, was the announcement of co-streamers. Who gets to co-stream the LCS? Jesus, the LTA. That is going to take so many times of repetition to remember. And it's pretty much all the same names that you remember before, but there was some notable faces missing off this list, that being the two biggest new owners that come into the space in Ludwig and Moist Critical, as well as Toast with Disguised. They weren't here. Mark Z has clarified that this image is just basically the LPP creators, which for those that do not know the process of this, in order to get approval to co-stream North American League or like LoL esports in general, typically you have to be a part of the League Partner Program, which is like Riot's content creator initiative, where they bring in, where prior to 2019 you could apply to join this program and Riot would give you certain assets and basically work with you. It's basically like a trusted creator program. Like they know that you're going to do well with their product and they can trust to give you a few extra things. That program has not opened up since 2019. We got an update last year saying that an update would come at the beginning of 2024. It's now 2025. That update has not come. So the list of co-streamers pretty much doesn't change despite there being some new faces in the league content space. Why? Because none of us can apply for this co-streaming role. Trust me, if you think that I wouldn't apply for it or ask to try and get it, I would in a heartbeat. But I'm not allowed. So the names over here remain the same, but Riot and Mark Z have confirmed that teams do get their own slot for co-streaming as well, which means that Ludwig and Moist Critical will be able to co-stream North America on behalf of Shopify. Disguise will be able to have Toast do it, which means if I'm looking at this correctly, it means that all but 3 teams actually have representatives that are within the co-streaming pool. Lion has Toad, FlyQuest LS, Sneaky and Meteos, even though Sneaky isn't technically C9. It's still a C9 co-stream. Meteos, I mean, he's paid for by C9. That speaks for itself. And then you obviously have Ludwig, Charlie, and Toast on the other side of that. That leaves Dignitas, 100 Thieves, and Team Liquid as the only teams that don't have an official representative for their fan base to watch the games, which I'm just saying, you really should if I'm any of them. 100 Thieves, hit me up in my DMs. For Dignitas and TL, I mean, you have Midbeast, you have Broxa, you have a few other names. Broxa could actually go on with Yamato Cannon. I think it would be a fantastic product to watch with the two of them talking about it and him providing the more biased fan opinion that wants to see TL do well. But for Dignitas, I don't know what creator they have at all. No names ring a bell. So I would like to see them try and capitalize on the space and maybe, I don't know, are there any of the people on the co-streaming list that really give me Dig vibes? I wouldn't really say so at the moment. So I don't know, just something for Dignitas to work on. The other reason I wanted to bring up co-streaming is because Arsh put out an article that further developed something that I hinted at in my video on Monday, talking about the Shopify ownership announcement, Ludwig, Charlie, etc. It was raising some suspicions that all this happened and there were pictures of Ludwig at the headquarters months ago. Apparently, According to Arch, this deal between Charlie Ludd and Shopify has been in the making for about a year now. While Ludwig gaining ownership in a North American team wasn't the full catalyst for why he went on his plat grind, it was part of it, and he was supposed to apparently activate at LTA opening weekend this weekend, but unfortunately a personal situation has removed his ability to do that, so he's not going to be there. But yeah, well played to Shopify for this whole thing. They just planned all this out really, really freaking well. And I must say, like, just kudos. Well done. You want to see me glaze them as an org for like 10 straight minutes? Go watch that video. The final headline around the league that I do want to talk about is the conversation around streaming scrims. And no, this is not just me pushing this narrative. This is actually also FlyQuest trying to push for it, as well as Andrew Barton also came into my Twitch chat like 2 or 3 days ago, and we talked about it briefly. FlyQuest is actively looking to get another tier 1 team to scrim with them on stream for content, which is brilliant because you have LS that can watch the whole thing, VOD review it, and that's a free YouTube video for you. But there's a lot of community conversation around why you would want this to happen, would it be good quality, etc. I've flushed out my thoughts multiple times, but I will just say, yes, coming from Call of Duty, I enjoy watching stream scrims. You're not expecting the same level of play that you would get on stage and in high pressure moments, nor would you expect them to reveal some of the unique strats that they would be trying. But it's a good way to test out mechanics and a good way to build up free content in a world where players don't really want to do content, especially when they're in the middle of the season and want to be scrimming and want to be grinding. If you can turn the thing that they naturally want to be doing into free content for your org, which would otherwise not exist because players don't want to do it, yeah, why would you not? The whole conversation around all this is like, is the LCS, is North America dying? Our way out of that is through content. It's not through just winning on the international stage. It's not just through having dominant domestic performances and people looking good on stage. You need content. You need to build personalities. And where can that personality best shine? In the environment that these players are naturally used to being in, because so many of them are not used to being on camera and aren't really good at talking to a camera for 10, 15 minutes or doing a podcast, etc. Pros is coming a long way on that, but not everybody can do pros and do a podcast without it being oversaturated in the market. So yes, please give me stream scrims. FlyQuest is on board. I would like to see who else is. And I will be asking everybody that I interview from here on out what their opinion is on it, so we can at least get some sort of public record. But now that we're finally here, let's ask the question, what does a successful LTA North opening weekend look like? For me, I would like to see a peak of around 175,000 viewers with an average well over last year's of 120. I am still worried that there are a lot of people that are not going to realize that we're back because they didn't realize that the LCS branding changed. I know all the social media handles remain the same, but you'd be surprised how aggressive you need to be on these marketing campaigns to let people know of a major change like this. I can't say that we did the best job in the offseason as North America as a whole in promoting all this, but hopefully it still works out. That's my benchmark. I know the matchups this weekend are not necessarily going to be close ones. We don't have that finals rematch, but I honest to God think we should be able to hit 160, 175K peak viewership if we want this to succeed. If the fall off is that bad, again, viewership starts high, drops, and then comes back. I don't want to know what that drop would be if we can't hit that benchmark early on. And in a world where, again, we are relying entirely on sponsorship revenue for the time being, viewership is unfortunately the most meaningful stat that we've got at the moment. And yes, I want that to be majority American, not European and international, because that doesn't help us grow a fandom that can actually sell out stadiums here. But that's it. But that's the number. Let's get on to the matchups. This should be fairly quick. I think most of the matchups this weekend should be pretty lopsided, considering that it is favorites against clear non-favorites. Next weekend's matchups will be a little bit closer, but starting with FlyQuest versus Shopify Rebellion. Shopify Rebellion notably without their support, Seos. He's currently dealing with a visa issue, which means that Zazul's in, and there's no world where I think there's any way that Shopify Rebellion can make up the bot gap that will be existing between them and Masu and Busio. There was a rumor during the show match, kind of said on camera, that maybe FlyQuest was struggling in some scrims. I don't buy it. I mean, even if they are, I think they'll step up on stage and be perfectly fine. I don't see this being an issue at all for them. When I look at the mid lane, assuming Quad retains his form from last year and Palafox retains his, yeah, it's going to be a 2-0 stomp and not even close. Palafox being the player that all eyes should be on for Split 1 to see if he is rebounded at all from what was an abysmal 2024. This likely is going to be the last chance that he gets if he plays bad, but if he can regain some of that 2023 magic, then maybe he's got a shot at something. And maybe the Shopify or can pull off an upset. But I'm going 2-0 FlyQuest over Shopify. Lion versus C9. Apparently Lion might also be dealing with a visa issue with Young possibly coming in for mid. I'm not 100% certain. I saw that rumor on Twitter spreading around, but I don't think it matters in any way, shape, or form. C9 is beating the crap out of them. There's a world where I can see C9 struggling against the top teams, but I think Cloud9 and Spring against lower level teams, this won't even be close. Cloud9's a dominant early game team in a meta that if you can get leads early, you should be able to snowball it a little bit more so long as you don't fall for the bootstrap. This should be night and day for C9. The one team that should be worried, as we always should be, is 100 Thieves, as proved by Worlds and Summer and even Spring at points. We can lose to anybody, realistically. Like, we are a very volatile team. We take fights that we shouldn't. But at the end of the day, 100 Thieves are fun to watch. This team could beat anybody in the league, could lose to anybody in the league. Might I remind you, last year they came out the gates swinging by beating Team Liquid. Now they come out the gates and face arguably one of the worst two teams in the league in disguise. And I'm still over here like, yep, I could see a world where we lose to them. I could also see a world where we stomp them. For that reason alone, I think every single 100 Thieves series this year, I'm going to predict 2-1. I do hope that FBI Ayla is an upgrade in this bot lane that just allows the top side to be unlocked even more than it was so before. Sniper's champion pool was brought into question at the beginning of this year. I hope he can silence those critics by bringing out some pretty diverse picks that he has shown in solo queue, but we will see. But overall, it still should be a 100 Thieves win. Anything but that is still considered an upset. Now, my upset watch for the week, though, is actually going to be Team Liquid versus Dignitas. Surdy made comments on pros this week about how he should be able to beat Impact and he has the confidence to do so. And a lot of people were like, really? I don't know how I feel about that. And it's like, did we not watch the same thing happen to Impact with Sniper last year? Whenever Sniper comes in, shit talks him and then beats him in his first game and then beats him again in the second best of one. Now, granted, this is a best of 3. It is slightly different, but I like it as a top laner when you have confidence that you can beat some of these top guys. It is proven to work. I don't need you being passive, being like, oh, humbly, if I beat him, great. If not, then it is what it is. Nah, fuck that. Beat his ass. Good. Have confidence. I like the way Surdy talks. Does that mean they're going to be able to make up the monstrous bot lane gap that exists between Tomo and Isles and Yawn and Core JJ? Probably not, no. But in a world where Surdy is able to capitalize on Impact and show that, yeah, maybe the next generation of players is pretty good on their own. And APA and Umpty do struggle a little bit. Maybe there's a world where Dig does it, but it's not the one where I'm predicting. TL should still win this series pretty easy, but I'm hoping that Surdy plays well. He's already grown to be one of my favorite personalities in this league. Anyways, that's it for the pit this week. If you don't mind, drop a like, drop a comment below. Which team are you most excited to watch during the split? Is it the favorites? Is it one of the lower teams? Who do you got? Who's got you tuning into this league? Be sure to subscribe to this channel for a new episode of The Pit every single week, including interviews with the players next week. The Rendezvous on Wednesday. If you're a 100 Thieves fan, be sure to check that one out. And I'll see those of you that live around the New York City area, hopefully in Brooklyn on Saturday. See ya.